All right, guys, gals, Timaloys, what's happening? It's Friday night. Ross is hosting again. Stephen is slacking. Franny's along with a wee hangover. It's Friday night. It's all good. What's happening, boys?
All good, man. All good. Like to take a back seat now and then. Come on, it's good crack, and you're good. You're a great host, so all good.
You hit flattery will get you everywhere, Stephen. Yeah, that's me, boy. What about yourself, Franny? How you? Wee hangover, I was hearing.
A wee bit tender. I felt I was alright this morning and stuff, but as the days went on, it's tiredness and that's kicking in.
Well, you would go out on a school night, son.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Drinking on a school night, Franny. What are you playing at?
Got to live a little sometimes, boys. Got to live a
Absolute
little.
rebel.
7-year-old. Oh, aye. Oh, aye. Grounded for 2 weeks, but.
Aye. Well, so we'll just get into the podcast, shall we? By the way, just before we get any further, Alistair's in the comments there. It's Alistair's birthday today, so happy birthday. Seen it on Facebook earlier. Happy birthday, Alistair. Monty, what's he saying, Stephen? I see Mastermind is on, which is obviously freed up this pair. Yep. Monty's that's a good start, Monty. It's a good start. Not really got much to say to that, so I'll just move on to the Super Six swiftly.
Let's do.
Aye, let's do. Aye. I mean, it's me that started this thing. It's me that wanted to do it, and it's me that forgot to put it on last week. But in my defence, I left in a real hurry on Saturday morning because I got last minute hospitality tickets for the Celtic Hibs game in the number 7 bar. So I mean, I had other things going on, but aye. So the Super Six after the midweek ones. Did you mind to date, Stephen, during the week?
No. So go ahead.
Listen, I can't slag you. I think I've forgot 4 times. 4 times. That's a new record. Usually when I'm doing it, I'm always on the ball.
You had the excuse of being in hospitality and your engagements and that, but I'm just a lazy bastard sometimes. Click a button.
He probably remembered and went, fuck that, man. So the top, sort of 5, we've got Franny at 142. Then second place, we've got Kevin Hampsey on 141. We've got Sean Ross in third place on 138. Then we've got a 3-way tussle for 4th with James Bowie, Alistair Jack, and Jamie Latimer on 136. And then, sorry, that's no third. That was third. That's 4th.
No, you did say.
And then, did I? Aye. And then in 5th, we've got our very own Wally and Jamie McElduff on 123 points. So it's all to play for. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm hoping to come back, but it's not looking good.
I don't even know where I am on the table, which isn't good.
Yeah, if you're not in the top 5, it's not even worth talking about. Let's be honest. That's why I'm not even bringing myself into the equation. Normally I go, I'm an 8th, creep him up. Never need it. Aye, so before we go into the podcast proper, I'll just touch on our lovely sponsors here, Beer 52. Again, you go on www.beer52.com/Celts is the code. All you have to do after that is pay your $5.95 postage, and you get your box of beer. You can scrap now, but it's box of beer, all different type sales and that throughout the world. You get a magazine, mate, telling you about the beer. You get a wee snack, and you do it for your couch. It's different class. Again, like I've said before, I'm not an ale guy, but if you do like ale, that's the way
the fact that you mentioned magazine and did it from your couch just doesn't go.
I mean, it's not the 80s, Stephen. Who uses a magazine these days?
Oh no.
Aye, so moving on swiftly for that. A wee game during the week there, a wee cup game. For anybody that isn't aware, that was the quarter-final. We've got the semi-final next. Stephen thought we had Kilmarnock in the semi-final in the group chat. I mean, it was slightly awkward. You didn't even send a fishing gift because you knew you'd fucked up. But aye, Motherwell away Wednesday night. Another dominant performance, a good win. Celtic are back in the groove the last 2 games. Just coming to you, Stephen, just a sort of overview of the match and just how you think it went. And
Well,
by
I mean,
the way,
just to
I was going to say as well, the commentator twice
believe it was
said
a
unchallenged
tighter game,
that it was an even first half. Would you agree with that? And then just obviously an overview of the match itself.
Well, I mean, just to go back to your earlier comment about the whole quarters and semi-final debate we had earlier on. I mean, I was doing a bit of fishing, boys. Like, I'll call it back.
Fuck.
But yeah, I mean, the whole clinical aspect of scoring goals has went out the window now. That's 10 goals in 2 games, 6 against Hibs, 4 against Motherwell, which is a great return. But the game itself, as you said, the cup game, one of them ones that could have been a potential banana skin in terms of maybe take the foot off the gas or a bit of complacency settle in, but that didn't come to fruition. And I thought it was a great performance. You know yourself, Ross, these commentators, I mean, you have the likes of Andy Walker, who played for us, sound like a Rangers fan in most games he commentates, and slating us in the other games that he watches in terms of our quality. But the commentators, as usual, are just off the scale sometimes in what they say. Celtic dominated the game start to finish. There were some great performances, which I know yourself you're going to touch upon. And it was just good to see the team enjoying football and scoring goals. And I think in a roundabout way, this whole European fiasco in terms of what isn't a failure, what wasn't, now we know we're fate. Maybe it's a bit of pressure off the players and what they were feeling, and they're coming back into their game and they're being a bit more free and attacking, a bit more fluid and taking their opportunities. And it's just good to see. We're winning games, as I said, 6 against Hibs, 4 against Motherwell. Let's hope the trend continues.
By the way, you make a good point there in terms of, obviously, we sort of know our fate. We can still get third. It's going to be very difficult in that group. But you make a good point there in terms of the fact that it's the pressure's off a wee bit. We're back into the sort of groove, playing well, 10 goals in 2 games. But just coming to yourself off the back of that, Franny, just what you thought of the game on Wednesday.
I think Stephen's kind of summed up well. Like, cup games, especially midweek, can be a wee bit, like, it can be a banana skin being away from home and stuff. You just don't know how the players, if the players are proper up for it. But I think it was just one of the ones where first 45 minutes we were really good, but it was just wee bit, again, clinical. Kyogo missed a couple of good chances, so it was one of the ones where you're like, oh, maybe the Hibs game wasn't as getting back to a dominant sort of a clinical sell, but then obviously in the second half it was a great performance. I mean, the first half was a great performance. It was not as close as the commentator tried to let us think it was. I don't even think Motherwell had a shot at goal. Never made a shot on target in the first half. So it was good. Abada with a couple of goals again. Kyogo finally getting that goal. I think that meant a lot to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see him hopefully maybe kick on. It's mad to think. I think, like, even though Kyogo's no been up to his usual standards, I think he's still either a joint or top goal scorer or something for the season. It's mental. But it was a great cup tie, and then we've just got another awkward joke now we find because we can't even say we've got Motherwell in the quarterfinals.
It's just need to be coming. That's one for the group chat. The viewers will not get that one.
I know.
But it's a cup tie, and you're away from home. Sometimes it's just about getting the win, getting the result. But I thought they gave the performance as well as the result, and that's 2 in a row now. Tough game on it's the Mora, isn't it? Aye.
Yeah,
tough game, the Mora at Tynecastle. On paper anyway, but Hearts haven't been hitting the heights. But we'll touch on that a bit later. Sticking with the Motherwell game, I'll just come back to you, Franny. In terms of like player performances, I think there's nowhere better to start than Siegrist. Obviously, he's came in. It looks to me like he's going to be the cup keeper. I thought he'd done okay in the game. I thought he probably had one good save in the second half. For me, he looked quite assured in the first half. A few hairy moments in the second half with the ball at his feet. How did you think it went in terms of his performance?
it was a hard one really to judge him because, like saves, I don't really think he had any big saves that he really had to make. Motherwell didn't really threaten in that sense, but what he had to do, he dealt with fine. I totally agree. I think on the ball, he looked a bit dodgy, but then that could just be down to sharpness. It is only it's his second game or something, I think, for us. Because like you say, I think he's only played another cup game. So it was the ball at his feet. It was a wee bit dodgy at times, but I maybe just got to cut him some slack and say it was down to sharpness, but he's not playing at all. But everything else, it was a hard one for you to say. Maybe obviously with Joe Hart, like I'm not for one trying to suggest we drop Joe Hart. It's just mad, but I know we obviously know he was making some errors and stuff in games, but it would have, and probably in a weird way, Seagrass was probably wanting more to do in that game to try and stake his claim, because it's obviously it is hard for a number two essentially to get in the team. So he was maybe one of it will be more like a better performance for Motherwell, but it was a steady enough game for him, and I suppose he'll be happy with the clean sheet as well.
Aye, yeah, he definitely will be. I mean, I don't know. It's like you say, you can't make a proper judgment just going off a single game. For to turn around and say he should be in the team before Hart is bizarre to me.
Aye,
you need to see a run of games, and it's not going to happen unless Hart has a proper run of games where he's proper bad. And he has made the odd mistake, but over the piece, I think Joe Hart has performed really well for us. I don't know what you think about that, Stephen, but before I go any further, can I just answer back to Kieran and say the reason the buttons are big is because it isn't just a shirt, it's an overshirt.
This is oversized buttons,
and the heating's off, so that's why one is wearing the overshirt. But Stephen, Joe Hart, sorry, not Joe Hart, Seagrass, his performance on the night, and just obviously touching on a lot of the fan base have said that in their opinion they think Seagrass should be in ahead of Hart. Just what you think on that?
Well, I mean, the ironic thing what you said is the only way we're going to judge Seagrass if he gets games, and the only way he gets games is playing ahead of Joe Hart. So I know what you're saying there. It's kind of one of them ones. Can you drop Joe Hart to take the risk with Seagrass? I think what you get with Seagrass is
you only drop him. Sorry, you only drop him if he's not performing.
Yeah, which I'm going to come on to in a wee second. But what you get with Seagrass is a good, solid backup goalkeeper. I think we all knew that from his time at Dundee United. I like the whole cup goalkeeper thing. I think it's good to see him get game time, both in the Scottish Cup and the League Cup, and usually around the semis or finals when we get into them, we'll probably revert back to Joe Hart. But we'll see anyway. But I like Seagrass. He's tall. I mean, he's good. The presence is good in the box. He comes for cross balls, and he made a great save. I thought Franny said he didn't have any important saves. I thought the save he made in the second half against their player Penny was really important, because that came from an angle where I don't think he got a full side of the ball, and he put his hand out and tipped it around the post, and I thought it was a cracking save. So he was alert, he was sharp, and he knew what he was doing there. I agree with the ball at his feet. At times it was like, oh my god. But we've said that with Joe Hart as well. I think it's pretty clear that both these keepers aren't the best when they're playing from the back, and I think even Joe Postecoglou said that himself. It's like a compromise sort of thing, but he still trains them to do the job and do it well. I like Seagrass, but the whole Joe Hart kind of debate, I think it kicked off around about the Shakhtar game in Europe, and it's kind of went on, and when the bad result against St Mirren and a few hurry moments against other teams, I think it's all right to say he hasn't been the best, and I mean, no issue there. Maybe getting dropped from the team for that game, the cup game, he'll come back a wee bit rejuvenated, a bit more confident in himself. I think he needs to find that again. He's a great goalkeeper. Everyone knows that. He's been fantastic for Celtic, and personally, I wouldn't drop him. I've not seen much of the fan base clamouring for Seagrass. I know previously in other podcasts I said maybe it's give Seagrass a chance to see how it gets on, but I wasn't implying dropping Joe Hart for the long run. I think Joe Hart's our number one, and it's going to stay like that. But to have Seagrass to back up, it fills me with confidence instead of having the likes of Scott Bain coming in or a young keeper like Olawami, even though there's plenty of hopes around him. And we also had to factor in Connor Hazard. He's a loan over in a club in Finland, I believe, and he just won their Player of the Year award from the supporters. So he's been firing all cylinders over there, and he's going to come back from that loan spell full of confidence. So there's another great goalkeeper coming into the department, and only bodes well having that competition.
I actually forgot about Connor Hazard. Whether he'll be long term at Celtic, I'm not sure. But if he's doing well wherever he is it out in loan? Did you say? Wherever he is, he might come back. He might come back, and he might be a different keeper. He might stake a claim, but at some point you're going to have to lose one, maybe two of them, because you what is that? 5 goalkeepers we're talking about there: Hart, Siegrist, Bain, Owolami, and
is he still on loan? Is he on loan?
I think he is, Franny. Aye. I mean, that's 6 keepers, eh? Fucking hell, fair near half. That's more than half of an outfield team.
But you can maybe look at it a different way as well. You could look at that like a plan for when Joe Hart eventually retires. You've got the likes of Siegrist, Connor Hazard, and Scott Bain as your goalkeeper department. Because Connor Hazard is still quite young. He's only 23, 24. He's been playing for the Northern Ireland international team at different points as well. So he has pedigree about him. And for me personally, when he played for us in them games, he didn't do much wrong. Obviously, it was during the whole season, the COVID season. He got his chance, and I think he played the League Cup semi-final and final, I believe, and he won the trophy with us on that day. So there is potential about him.
I mean, for me, in what I've seen, I mean, can't say too much about Owolami.
Whatever.
Can't say much about him. I've not seen a lot of him. Bits and bobs I've seen of Hazard, Bain. Well, we know Bain isn't good enough to be the Celtic number 1. He had a wee spell. For me, the only one at the moment that you could possibly think could take over for Joe Hart would be Siegrist. I don't think any of the other ones mentioned could shoot. What's the
most ironic thing there? Who's the best in that goalkeeping department with the ball at their feet? Scott Bain,
aye. But he's and all the other aspects.
Aye.
Well, I mean, that COVID season, he does fall short. He's okay. He came in a couple of times last season and done a bit of a job for us, but you were never like, oh, it's all right, Bain's and goals. But
it was
on Wednesday night, you were like, oh, it's all right, Siegrist is in.
Siegrist, yeah.
Not that Hart got dropped or he was injured. That's just what Ange's doing. He's going to be the cup goalkeeper. But, I mean, obviously we've got a semi-final against Kilmarnock, Franny. Would you be happy, like on paper, if we beat Kilmarnock, you would expect to maybe get Rangers in the final? For talking's sake, if we do that, would you be happy for Siegrist to play the semi-final and the final?
I would be. I would want him to play the final, but it's one of them. They would then be going, he's not played for I don't know how soon the final is after the semi-final. It could be 4 or 5 weeks, and you're like, he's not played for 4 or 5 weeks. I would say, yeah, I would prefer Siegrist if he's played in every other round. Feel he would deserve his place in the final.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's like been 4 or 5 games in between him playing the semi-final and final, maybe got to say I've probably got a different answer at times. Saying no, we need to play hard. It's consistency. You're possibly playing Rangers. I think if I would want to. My heart wants to say Siegrist, but I think I would say Hart. If it's Aberdeen, I would be like, I just put Siegrist in, and I think that's a wee bit disrespectful to him.
Aye,
it's one of them.
Wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
Aye, no, but I fully understand what you're saying. Like,
I want to say Siegrist when he's got us through there, but
aye,
if
it's any other team in the final, you go right. Aye. Okay, go for it. But it's Rangers. You lose that game. I'm not saying it's going to be Siegrist's fault, but people look to it and go, should we have played Hart? What's this? I would play Benji in the semis, but not the final because if you made a mistake.
Just what Ross
that's aye.
Pretty much what Ross is
saying. Me and Egyptian King are like, man. Aye, it's a tough one.
Aye,
but then you have to sort of caveat with if you don't play him in that big game, what does it do for his confidence? It could be a game where the other side of the coin, he could have a stormer And like, I'm not saying oust Hart, but you don't know. What about yourself, Stephen? Would you be tempted to play him in the final as well as the semi-final? If we get Rangers,
I think it comes down to as well if you have battle. Do you know what I mean? You have to have a bit of bravery to make that decision to have Seagrass your gut. Yeah, exactly, to make Seagrass stay in throughout that run. I mean, I get the whole point. What people are saying, there could be a mistake or whatever. He could have a shocker, but Joe Hart could have a shocker. It's one of these positions that sometimes can just piss up against the wall and it all go wrong. I would keep Seagrass the cup goalkeeper and keep Hart for the European games and the league. I think that's a fair spread of games, and not only that as well. If you're trying to put confidence into Seagrass for coming years, for example, and you're dropping them for semis or finals, it doesn't really bode well because he wants the team to trust him and trust his abilities. And I'm sure he trains with it really well every day. And with Stevie Woods, a goalkeeping coach, they all have a plan together, and Postecoglou keeps an eye on that. And I would keep him in. I think for him going forward at Celtic, that would be a great move. And I know you could say at the moment, regardless of results, yes, when you have these bad results, you're going to have reactions and knee-jerk like myself all the time about hot-headed with what to say. But from my point of view, I would keep Seagrass in. I don't think there's an issue with that. Joe Hart, for me, is a great goalkeeper, but I like the cup goalkeeper system. It gives them a chance, and it also gets the team used to him. For example, if Joe Hart had to miss a period of games, you're not nervous in the league because you know Eddie is coming in to replace him, which I think is a great fit.
Listen, I think you make a good point there, and while I understand what Franny's saying, I would probably have to go with playing him in both games regardless, because he has played him. He's obviously told him, you're coming in, first season, the remit will be, you're coming in as my cup goalkeeper, certainly for the League Cup anyway, and then see how you progress for there, see what's happening with Joe Hart. And it's a bit like the team, in a sense, for when Ange came in, where it's a ladder effect, in my opinion. I think that'll maybe be the same with Seagrass. Whether he'll be the number one when Hart goes is another question that we'll be able to answer in time. But we'll see what happens. But moving on to another performer, I thought he did a really good game in the night. Stephen, Aaron Moy. He's playing a bit more advanced than no.
That was just Stephen's face there.
He's had a. It's no like because you said you were underwhelmed and you weren't having it in that. It's just based on his performance the other night. The last two games, he's playing a more advanced role. He rarely gives the ball away. I think we all know that. We've seen it enough times in his substitution appearances, and he starts for the most part, barring maybe St Mirren was probably his poorest game, but it was a lot of players' poorest game in a Celtic jersey. But I'm not for a second saying he would be stating a claim for that one of the berths in that first choice midfield three. But are you coming round to him, and how do you think he done on Wednesday night?
I thought he done well. Do you know what I mean? I really do. I thought he played the game well. I like him being advanced because he's far too slow for that number 6 role. He's horrendous when he runs. Like honestly, you think he's stuck in slow motion. But his passing, Alistair Stevens' face is like holding on onto his shite. But I think further advanced, you can get the best out of him from like getting into the box from late runs and picking players out. And he's got a couple of assists as well. And I think he's been denied basically 2 goals. One, Kyogo blocked him against Hibs, and the other one, I think one of our players blocked to hit their goalkeeper, but he should have had a goal at least in one of them games. Yeah, he's been playing good. I think he brings an experience to the team, which we talked about when he come on in the latter part of games to see games through, which I still think that's probably his best kind of thing when we have our full midfield back, like some McGregor and people like that. But for now, like I think he's excellent, and he's passed it well. McGranda, who's watching, he loves him in terms of his range of passing and the way he gets in about the game. He's non-stop. I say he's slow, but he covers the ground well. He gets to places, and you're like, how you getting there when you're on like RoboCop? But yeah, he's been playing well. He's been linking up a play, and what I like about him as well, he's not one-dimensional the way he picks a player out. He can play the fizz ball, or he can loft it over the top, or a nice wee chip into the player's feet. And yeah, he's been doing well. I like the fact that him and O'Reilly have a good link up as well, because we all thought O'Reilly would be the one pushed up more with Moy sitting. But for me, O'Reilly, and he's took his game to another level, playing at number 6. And all these clubs are going to they're just going to be sniffing around him even more. But yeah, Aaron Moy, back to him. He's been playing well, I have to say.
Aye. Just touching on O'Reilly, it's absolutely mental. Like I have to laugh because, like others, like you with Moy, I've sort of humble pie a wee bit in the sense that, and the first time O'Reilly got used in the number 6 role, I can't mind what game it was. I can't mind now, but before it, I had said, Hatate will be playing deeper because he's better in the tackle and stuff like that. And Anthony was like, it might be O'Reilly. And I was like basically shut it down, like wee bit of a knob about it. And I was like, that's not going to happen. He'll not play there. And he's came in and played that role brilliant. Going back to Aaron Moy, coming to yourself, Ranny, just on how you thought he performed on the night, and what you think his sort of role in the team will be throughout the season. Do you think he can make I don't, but do you think he could stake a claim for that one of the berths in the sort of first choice midfield 3?
I don't, because I know obviously McGregor's out till after the World Cup, but I think our strongest midfield 3 is McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly, so I don't see any of them 3 dropping out for Moy. But that being said, the other night, like at the time when we signed him, or I think we'd done the podcast just as it was just before it was announced and things, I understood the set. I didn't matter, I was totally underwhelmed by it, but I understood the signing. It made sense. Like, we knew he was a decent player. Obviously, Ange knew him. It's a player he can trust and things like that. But the other night, it was just spraying the passes about brilliant. Like, and that advanced role he seems to have been playing in the last couple of games, he's like finding himself in nice wee pockets, and because he's got that good range of passing, that's how he's obviously getting his assists, because players are known they can make that run and they'll likely find him out. He's like, in no way am I comparing him to Modric, but it's kind of what he's doing. He just seems to find wee pockets of space and pops the ball away. I'm not saying he's as good as Modric.
No, I know.
It's the way
it's funny to hear that in the same breath.
It's the way he seems to play, but I think, I'm totally doubled in on him, because in the sense that I've almost I've said him and Modric in the same breath, but at the same time I'm just going to say I don't see him being a regular starter when we've got a full sort of full
Aaron Modric.
when we've got a full quota midfield player, so he might have got the Modric quote, but Modric isn't getting in the team.
No, man, that's funny. But that one for Phil there's an absolute topper. I love a good pun, and he's nailed that. Absolutely superb. But sort of thrown me a wee bit. I was listening to you, and then I lost what you were saying. Just laughing at that. But
I'm not saying he's as good as Modric.
No, I know.
We get it.
Totally know what you're saying. I was going to bounce off you there, but I've absolutely no idea what you said. Stay away from the beer. We'll move on to Aaron Modric. This could get the podcast shut down, man.
Absolute.
We'll move on to
Modric.
I'll come back to you, Franny, and move on to Haksabanovic. Thought he done all right in the night as well. I think he could possibly have the best first touch in our team. His first touch he just kills it stone dead. He's very direct. I think he's a total Aaron Majstorovic. I think he's a total Ange player. Again, just what you thought of his performance on the night, and just him in general this season so far. How you think he's done?
Certainly the last few games, I think he's shown why we've brought him in. Cause I think we tried to get him last season, but I don't know what happened. But I don't think we actually managed to get him. So it shows we kept an eye on him. Obviously, I've taken advantage of the situation with the Russian teams, but it's to think that we've got this guy in a 5-year deal is absolute madness. And I think, what is he's about 23, 24?
Mm-hmm.
So
23.
he has a good age. So obviously, if he has a good, like, not wishing the guy away, but the length of his contract, and if he continues this sort of perform up, because I think he's been good in Europe as well. Like the wee cameos he had in Europe, like he obviously came on it against Real Madrid, and I think the game was at 2-0 at the time anyway, so it was almost a free hit to an extent for him, but he was willing to attack the defence, and in that number 10 role, he looks really, really good. Obviously played it wide on Wednesday, but again, performed really well. I just think he's a real proper European class type player. He's, like I say, he is an Ange player. He's attack. It always seems to be going forward. And again, you can see that pass. Like obviously had the one way, I think it was Kyogo, the header that Kyogo probably should have scored in, not obviously Wednesday, but the game prior and stuff.
Leipzig game.
Leipzig game, aye. So he's got the range of passing, he's got the ability to go by players, and all that's really missing, I mean, I dare say he's claiming this OG the now against Kilmarnock, but I think once he gets a goal, he might start getting more goals and just going a run. But I'm really excited to see this guy going forward now. He's really impressed me the last sort of 3-4 games.
I have to agree with that. I think technically he's very, very good. Maybe not at the Jota level. I think he maybe lacks technically as good as Jota.
Aye, easy. I'd say, yeah.
I think Jota's technically a bit better than him. Listen, it's all about opinions. That's what you think. I feel Haksabanovic, he looks a really good player. I think he lacks pace for the way this Celtic team play, but I think he's better in the sort of 10 role where he's paced. He doesn't need to utilise pace as much, but he sees that pass. He can take the ball in the half turn and stuff like that. So I think he can play that position very well. I think he can play out wide domestically very well as well. But I think if we're playing a European game and we're going to play him, it would have to be in the 10 role for me. I don't know if you agree with that, Stephen, and just obviously his performance against Motherwell.
Yeah, I mean, go back to the Jota point. what I mean is, Jota is
that wasn't what I asked you.
Player.
That's me. It's
no,
me
but yeah,
the pod tonight.
No,
I'm only
listen to me, you fucking dickhead. Right, but yeah, but back to what you were saying about Jota. For me, Haksabanovic is technically as good as Jota, in my opinion, from what he can provide in terms of cross balls and assists and things. Jota takes it to a new level because he's got the speed and he's got that burst of pace to go past the player and take players out of the game, which puts him on a better footing for me. But Haksabanovic, it's like a player that every Scandinavian or Russian European team has. One of these luxury type players who can just pull a win from nowhere or bring a bit of magic into the pitch. And for me, Haksabanovic is that type of player. And I think he made a great point in terms of he has a burst of pace, right? Let's get that. About 2 yards probably, he gets past the player in the head or crosses the ball or gets a shot, and he can do it with both feet, which is fantastic. But what you also get with him as well is intelligence. And he's 23, but for me, he plays like a 30-year-old. He gets in pockets of space. He can drag players out of position. And the way he's linked up with Burnaby and Taylor over the last 2 games, 2 different left backs, have been fantastic. And when he's playing in the 10 as well, he has to link up with Hatate. And he's on the wavelength of all them players, and it's great to see. And I think he's probably one of the missing links when you're trying to find the likes of Kyogo making them deep runs, which you were all frustrated about before, that no one was finding him. I think Haksabanovic is that man probably to do that because he crossed a couple of cracking balls in for him, which he should have finished. And the way he takes the ball, as you said, his technical ability, controlling it. He's got a wee flick, a couple of step overs, and he's strong. He's really strong as well, which is great to see. He doesn't get pushed off the ball easily. And I know McCommon's reference, you agree with me, Ross, and I still stick by that. And I think he is similar to him. Obviously, but in my opinion, he's a bit better, obviously. But when goals come and stuff like that, he'll be miles better than him. But yeah, he seems to be a guy who's bought into Celtic from the get-go. And as I said, he's one of these players who's dynamic, and you don't know what you're going to get. He's a bit aloof, as people like to say. He's just one of these characters, and when teams need teams need teams need players like him, and when he gets that first goal, I know that their own goal and all that stuff, and he'll take off. His confidence will go up another level, and he'll just be showing off at times. And him and Yada, Maeda, fucking Abada, do you know what I mean? That's scary at domestic level. Obviously, he still needs to improve for European level, but domestically, that's scary.
Aye, I mean the names you've just mentioned there were absolutely loaded with wingers. Millions of choice. We've got two strikers as well. I think Giacomakis is the one out and out guy that can't move for that central position. But I don't know what you think. I don't know what you think, Franny. Do you think possibly January? I don't think it's paramount, but I would have liked to have seen it in the summer. It's difficult because we've already got two high quality strikers in there. Do you think we need a third just to help us along the way? Giacomakis frightens me every time he falls to the ground, man.
It just feels like Giacomakis is carrying some sort of injury. Because like you seen that one on Wednesday where it's like, I think he just played the pass in, it was running, and he went down with a sore back, and you're like, I just didn't want.
I thought it was like a hammy or something. They just like pulled up, but
it's like you say, you're just getting worried every time you see him go down because he's kind of coming into a wee bit of form now, and we've kind of all been advocating for him to get a start and things like that, and wanting to get this run and feel he deserves it. But I do think we should go out and get someone in January, whether that be just a loan deal for 6 months just to try and see us through the summer, because we know January can be a tricky time to get maybe the actual player, the number one target you want, and like a loan guy might actually suit what we want. Not that Ange, I think, brings somebody in to be a third choice striker, but we all know that Kyogo and Giacomakis are probably his first two, and maybe a lone player's just looking to get some game time. What was that?
Your hamstring isn't your back. I know that. I'm saying initially, before I seen him holding his back, he pulled up like it was a hamstring. But we all know, and it was evident it wasn't, because your hamstring is clearly in your chest.
I would like us to go and get someone, whether that be on a permanent, but I think a loan initially might work better because it's somebody that will know the role. Because I think if touch wood, that it doesn't happen, if Kyogo and Giacomakis do get injured at the same time, obviously we were lucky, if you can say lucky, last season when one was injured, the other one was fit, and both stepped up to the plate. But if the two of them got injured, I mean, I know Abada's numbers are ridiculous, but I wouldn't. And he had a couple of games last season where he had to play there out of necessity. I didn't want to get to the stage where we need to play like an Abada or a Maeda through the middle. I would love it to be a natural striker, because I think Abada and Maeda, they're wingers, and I don't want to be in a situation where it's the unfortunate situation with Giacomakis and Kyogo at the same time, and we're having to play an Abada or Maeda. Maybe if it's 1 or 2 games, you might get away with it, but I would prefer us to bring someone in just to make me feel a wee bit comfier.
I mean, I think the general consensus in the comments and that are sort of agreeing with you there, Franny, and I would agree with you as well. I think we do need a third striker, but again, possibly, like you've said, alone, I think it's very difficult to get somebody. I don't know if we can get somebody that's going to be off the level of the two we've got, or if we're very lucky, could we get somebody that is going to be the number one, which would be amazing. But again, in January, it's difficult to do. But I think Ange, I don't know when it was, I think he'd sort of alluded the other day, and some quote, I'm sure it was Anthony, had shared it in the group, saying that they're already, the way they done their business in January last year was beneficial for us, and they're looking to do that again. So, I mean, hopefully that happens, Stephen. But are you sort of in agreement with everybody that we need that third striker, whether it be a loan deal or a guy to really push for that number one spot?
No, I don't. We don't need one. It's not an emergency for me in terms of a third striker. And I know I get what you're saying in terms of the overall depth in case Giakoumakis and Kyogo do get injured. Touch wood, no. But I think Patrick McLaughlin makes a great point. If I can go back to it, we need a centre back who can step in for CCV. We need a stronger centre midfielder. And that's the areas I think we need stronger players in. I think we need like a Giakoumakis type midfielder. Abelgard come on against Motherwell. He just looked absolutely terrible. I don't know what's going on with him because he looked all right in the European game. They come on, maybe his fitness or whatever, but just didn't look good. But go back to the striker point of view. I think what Postecoglou's doing, and Franny, you alluded to it, but then you kind of dismissed it as well. Maeda and Abada can play there, and they've scored goals in that position. So effectively, you've got two out-and-out strikers, and then two who can fill in, who have scored goals for us playing that central position. Abada scored up in Dingwall last season when we had that crisis. I think he got like 3 goals in 2 games playing that position. So he has a knack for it. I think he scored twice there against Motherwell, finding space in the box. Maeda with his speed. Again, something you could take advantage of in that central position. And I think even Haksabanovic to a certain extent, if you play him closer as a 10 with the likes of Maeda or Abada, I mean, he's pinging through balls then all day for pace. So I don't necessarily think we need another striker. There's other areas of the pitch we definitely need to focus on. Striker for me, you've got 2 out and out, and then 4 effectively who can play the role. We're kind of covered for me. Like,
so let me ask you this then. Sorry,
that's cool.
Giakoumakis and Kyle got out for 6 to 8 weeks. Are you happy with Abada and Maeda through the middle?
Yeah.
Nah, it's not for me. Like.
I mean, what you're saying there, Franny, is highly unlikely that both of them will do it for that length of time. But I understand your point. But in terms of Stephen's argument, that's at an extreme situation. So I know where he's got I know where he's coming from, and I know where you're coming from too. But in terms of what you're talking about there, Stephen, somebody to come in and replace CCV, I think it's very difficult. Celtic have tried for, I don't know when Van Dijk left, maybe 10 years ago, was it? Maybe as much as that, I'm not sure. Right. Celtic have been trying for 10 years to get somebody, Carter Vickers ilk, and they've finally got it. They're not going to get somebody like that, in my opinion, to come in and be able to replace him. I think we've got Jens, and we've got when Starfelt comes back. I think if Carter Vickers gets injured, I think I would be happy with Starfelt and Jens as a partnership, not long term, but for me, if we could argue until the cows come home, it's all about opinions. You could always strengthen the squad everywhere because you want to get better, you want to get to that next level. I agree with you, the striker isn't an emergency, but if we could get business done on it, I would be looking to do that. Again, that defensive midfield area, I agree with you. I would like to see us strengthening that. But then you look at it and you go, you've got Ideguchi, you've got McCarthy, you've got Abelgard, you've got Matt O'Reilly who's playing it. Sometimes Aaron Moy can come in and play that, although he does look better further forward. We've got about 6 options here, and it's like, how many players can you actually have? But, I mean, moving on for that, I can sense it already. We're 44 minutes in. This is going to be another bloody long podcast. I don't know why with me, but I'll maybe skip a few of the topics just to get through it.
No.
Try to compete with the nostalgia here, I think.
I can, hell, man. I can't compete with that. That's proper knowledge that Phil's got. But
I just meant the length, Ross. I meant the length for the podcast.
All right, aye. Yeah, I was getting a bit of a big head there, you know. Aye, so we'll move on to the goals. Come to yourself, Stephen, on Abada's first, made by Gregory. What was that comment?
It was the Boise bus dropping a like, guys. Sorry I can't hang around. Hope the show goes well.
Cheers, mate. Abada's first goal, Stephen, made by Gregory, came at a perfect time. Talk us through just the goal itself.
Well, I mean, Moy took a smack to the gub, didn't he? He went down.
I forgot about that,
he played the ultimate distraction. He just lay down on his passed it out. Greg Taylor takes advantage of it. Pings a lovely ball in. He played it 1-2 Haksabanovic, wasn't it? He got it back.
Was I?
And then Abada made that deep run. And the Motherwell players are napping. He just went bang, found the space, ran into it, finished it. It was a great goal because a bit controversial. Like, I didn't think Abada played all that great up until his goals. I really didn't. He gave the ball away a lot, and he was getting into positions where he wasn't picking the right pass, or he was hitting the ball and it was just going out of play and good for corner kicks and that. But his 2 goals are sublime. The first one, Greg Taylor, I'm starting to love him. It's annoying me because I wanted not to like him, but he's a great player, and he gives us all. And albeit he doesn't have the quality to be a top level left back or whatever, but see, for us at this moment in time, the way he's playing the game, and what I'm loving as well is the competition of the places, because you look at Burnaby's performance, who actually played really well, by the way, and then Greg Taylor comes in. He's up this game, I think, because he's getting in position to find them assists again. And then Abada, after Forrest gets the hat trick, Abada gets 2.
Aye.
What? Do you know what I mean? It's gone up. It's gone up.
I know. It's like you say, Forrest gets a hat trick, and you think he's got to play the next game, and then Abada comes in, and you're like, well, okay, Abada's still good, and then he gets 2, and you're like, well, Abada's really good. But touching on what you sort of said there, I don't think Abada had that great a game either. But he gives you what he gives you, and that is goals. His numbers are ridiculous, man. It's mental for a guy his age. He can't beat a man. He's no got a great shot. He doesn't really connect with the ball that great. When he's got time to think about it and he's through 1-on-1 with the goalie, you're not batting him.
No.
But if he's got no time at all, like the 2 goals he scored the other night, it's in the net, and he's away celebrating, and we're up 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, whatever it is. But moving on to the second goal, Franny. Who was the second goal again?
Hopefully
it was Abada again.
It was I. So
because I'll be honest right now, I cannot remember it.
It was the one where well, I'll talk you through it then more. It was the one where Hatate does that wonderful reverse pass, and then it sort of comes back out. Juranovic has a shot. Keeper parries it out. Yeah. And just take your range, kid. Go for it.
And then it just alludes to what you were saying about Abada, how it's just instinct is clinical when it's instinct, but obviously and he always seems to find himself in the right place and things like that. But I mean, like Abada's number, like we've said it plenty of times, you watch football with your eyes and know the numbers, and you can get distracted by them and things, but like Abada does have poor performances, but his numbers are ridiculous for his goals and stuff. It's for a 20-year-old or whatever. You're like, this is actually unbelievable, his numbers. And it's one of the guys you've just got to say, well, I know if you look at him, you can watch some games, you're like, he was hopeless, but he's popped up with 2 goals. He just always finds himself in the right place at the right time. He's great at ghosting in at that back post.
Aye, that's the word.
And obviously the second, and obviously on Wednesday night he was in and about just the space and just gets luck at the ball, breaks to them off the keeper and stuff. But it was a nice goal. Just like you say, instinct is Abada's forte when it comes to scoring. I totally agree with him. He's got time in the ball. You're not really backing him to either beat the man or beat the goal. It's better.
Instinct. Bang.
Aye. I think you just kind of got to be off the cuff.
But like Yakimakis that way, isn't it?
Aye.
I think Yakimakis is off the cuff in a different way, but
it's he does that one touch finish sort of thing, but he can also, if he's got time, he'll also find the net. But that's because he is an out and out goal scorer. Abada isn't quite that. And by the way, through time, Abada might add that composure to his game, but right now, he plays on the edge, he plays off the cuff, and long may it continue because he's doing the business in a Celtic jersey right now, and you can't complain at that. I'll just come back to you, Franny. Moving on to the third goal. Don't know if you can mind that one.
I can remember that one.
You mind that one? Aye, you all right? Aye. Right, good. We'll move on. So Hatate it's Hatate gets it. It's a cheeky, sublime finish. He's just got it. The guy, isn't he? But what did you think of his goal and just his overall performance in the match?
His goal, like at first, I sort of was like, I see that's just done what I think he's done there, and just like taking that wee touch away from the goal. Well, it does take it away from the goalkeeper, but I think I think the touch is more to put the goalkeeper off as opposed to taking it away as such. I think it's just normally sometimes you're saying like if that's a bad or Giakoumakis, they're not taking that extra touch where he takes it to compose himself and put the keeper off. But he done that the sort of where he rolls the defender. He loves I think he loves doing it. I know it was killing you in the Leipzig game, Ross, because I think he gave the ball away about 3 times trying it.
Yeah, he tried it a couple of times. There wasn't enough pace in the ball to do it, man. And he's trying to roll the guy. The ball's there, and I'm like, what are you doing?
And, so Wednesday, he got away with doing it, done it. I suppose it might be a wee bit easier because it was in the box. The defenders kind of got to be a wee bit more cautious, I guess, giving away a foul in the middle of the park. Players can maybe bring in a wee bit, and if it's a foul, it's a foul. But it was just that the wee rolls the defender and just that wee drag and then just hitting it instantly with his left foot. It's absolutely class. And I just think this season, even and especially since McGregor sort of got injured, I think Hatate's really stepped up in the middle of the park. I know we spoke about O'Reilly dropping it to 6 and has stepped up, but I think Hatate's proper that I think he's an absolute proper football player. Really, like to think we got him for about £1 million. It doesn't even get in the Japanese squad. We've said it 100 times. Their midfield must be brilliant. I know we're kind of biased when it comes to him, but their midfield must be brilliant if he's not even in the squad. Because I think they actually released their World Cup squad today, and he's not even made it. And you're like, this is mental.
He's probably getting omitted for the gum shield, though. To be fair,
maybe it could be something to do with that. But the guy for me is an absolute proper baller, and like he's even doing it in the European games. Is the one that I think has shown a bit of confidence. I know against Leipzig, it wasn't really coming off from him, but he's always trying. I feel the hard, difficult passes, trying to break the lines. And sometimes it doesn't come off, and it's you're maybe up the park and getting caught out because players have gambled and he's not actually managed to make the pass. But I've been really impressed with him since he came in. But this season especially, I think he's started flying. He's arguably my favourite player now, and it's a weird one because I love Giakoumakis, man.
Listen, I love him too. He's fucking brilliant, man. I could watch him playing football a day and bullying defenders. But you said something about Hatate there. Like he tries the more difficult pass, even in the big games. It doesn't matter who he's up against. We've seen it numerous times. I think that's why one of the main reasons why he's for the most part in the team, because he'll maybe miss out that easy pass. And he'll miss out one man, and then you've took a defender out the game and you're in before you know it. I think that's what he brings to the team. But we'll move on to the final goal. Stephen, come to yourself. Round off the goals was Kyogo. I mean, he had a few earlier chances. I think he had the one that gets squared across by Hatate. The keeper comes out to him, but he puts it just by the post. He's got the other one. He's had the curler off the bar. Then he's had another one in the first half. What was it?
Yeah,
it was it kind of breaks to him, and then Kelly gets out to him really quick, and then finally he gets the chance. Where he can't miss really. I think. It's weird to say it, right? Because I think he's lost form a wee bit. A drought, I'm not so sure. I think that was 4 games or something he hadn't scored for them. That's not a drought by any standards. But I think you've seen the way he celebrated the goal. I think he felt he needed it just for a confidence. I think even at the end of the game when he done, Ange put him back over to the fans, Ange can say it was either me or it was him. That's deflecting a wee bit. Ange done that. You needed that. You got your goal. Go and take the adulation for the fans. But just the goal itself, Kyogo's performance, and his drought and just like how you feel he's been in recent weeks and how you feel off the back of that goal going forward he'll be.
I need to rewind a bit.
That was a lot of questions.
Because I can't let this Hatate chat go without me saying about him, because I mean, by the way, top marks to the Motherwell groundsman or groundswoman. That was the part was absolutely fantastic.
I actually thought it was fucking artificial. It was that good.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, and we're all used to seeing.
Stephen Craig.
There's no sound, but yeah, Hatate for me. Neil's out here like cards on the table, whatever. He's the best player in Scotland right now. I think he's absolutely fantastic. His all-round play. Yes, he made mistakes in Europe, but again, you have to kind of counter that with him being in that stage for the first time. It did take him a wee while to get used to the pace of the Scottish game, and then he dipped off, and then he came back again. And this season, he's been absolutely firing. The passes he does, he can take players on, he can roll people. A bit like John McGinn would do with the backside, putting his back into them and rolling the player, and he's sublime on it. And see the way he took that goal, the composure he showed, the drag back, skin the goalkeeper, and then tap it in, and then just go like that.
Like in that much space.
Yeah. Unbelievable. See, to be honest, if he continues this kind of trajectory, you were talking about likes of Haksabanovic, but for me, he could break the record transfer fee we could receive for a player. He's everything a top European team needed a midfielder. He can pass, he can tackle, he can run. He's box to box. He can play multiple positions. He's played left back, left wing, forward. He's a brilliant player. He does have inconsistent times when he's dipping off, but seeing he's on form, he's incredible. And no players, no team can live with him 100%. And I think Egyptian King. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say I think he's tremendous as well. I fully agree with everything you've said there. And he's not the same as Petrov, but at times he reminds me a wee bit of him. He's tenacity and stuff like that. But for me, at the moment, I still think Petrov is a better player. And you're talking about him breaking the transfer record. This day and age, he possibly could. I look at Petrov, what he done in the Celtic team, and he went to Aston Villa. That's an absolute shambles, by the way. He was top drawer. But anyway, carry on.
No, great comparison. Petrov was unbelievable for us in Europe as well and the league, and he went for penal stats in the film in the end, which was just criminal. But as you said, the inflation of transfer fees and stuff like that, Hatate can pull in a wad load for Celtic, to be honest, the kind of high ceiling in terms of that. And Alistair Jack, like, he's a Naka type. Yeah, Egyptian King. Hatate for Celtic is what we wanted for Minamino at Liverpool, 100% as well. He was meant to be a great player, but he kind of tailed off there, and he had to move on. But yeah, going to Kyogo, like Willie spoke about it, I spoke about it. I don't think he's the most clinical player, and we've seen that. No. He's not. He definitely isn't. But what he does offer Celtic is a dimension up front that we don't get with like Giakoumakis. We know all like the package we get with Giakoumakis is fantastic, but Kyogo can dip off and play on the left, drift over and kind of find players in different positions and link up the play. And see, when I hear the likes of Stephen Cregan say that Kyogo's lost his spark, it makes me feel sick inside my stomach that an absolute onion like him can comment on a player like Kyogo.
Onion.
He's a melon. Like Stephen Cregan has he shouldn't even be a coach. Like, God help the kids he coaches. It's incredible. But Kyogo, the drought was what, 4 or 5 games, whatever, and you can see it in his game that when he against Motherwell, for example, he was snapping at chances. The one where he came in when Hatate rolled it back to him, he's scoring that, puts it past the post. And other players would go into their shell, maybe just kind of drift out of the game and whatever. But he always kept looking for the ball. And to be fair to Postecoglou, usually around the 60th minute mark, he brings them off, but he kept them on because he wanted them to get that goal. Mm-hmm. And yeah, people can point to maybe have a laugh and say, oh, you got an assist from a bad shot off the post and he put in an empty net. How can he miss? But it's getting in positions when your confidence has been knocked multiple times. He's still doing it. He still wants to be in the right area, in around the box and score a goal. And he did. And I actually thought he was going to cry and he celebrated because he was going like this. Yeah. And hopefully from now, this moment, it kind of just puts him on an upward scale and he can just take the opportunities again, not panic, be more composed and be the Kyogo we know he can be. Because the whole talk about drought and losing the spark, guys like Stephen Crichton are used to watching Keith Lasley playing for Motherwell, so he go, fuck. Kyogo is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Far better than anything they've ever had in their team. So, shove it up them.
Aye, that's absolutely no doubt about that. And just sort of touching on, you'd said about him not being that clinical, and I've said that myself as well. I totally agree with that. For me, I know he gets played as our central striker, if you like, most of the time. He's not an out-and-out central striker. Giakoumakis is, but for the way we want to play, Giakoumakis does a really good job, and I love him, and I think he should play far more than he does.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
The way we want to play, I think you look at Liverpool, right? Kyogo's not an out-and-out striker. Liverpool, before they signed Núñez, had so much success for 4 or 5 years. Never had an out-and-out striker. They had Firmino, they had Salah, they had Mane. They could all go between the positions.
That kind of pisses in your argument for a first striker, doesn't it, really?
Well, no, because I'm not saying he has to be an out-and-out striker.
I know.
He just has to be. Aye. So, take your pish back, kid. But aye, they've never had an out-and-out striker. It's only this season that the two top teams, right up there. Aye, the two top teams, Man City and Liverpool, up until this season. Well, no, maybe not quite Man City because they did have Aguero. Let's be fair, but for a long period, Liverpool had a lot of success without an out-and-out striker. But anyway, Franny, just finishing on Kyogo yourself, his performance on the night, and how you think his confidence going forward off the back of that goal, how you think he'll be going forward. Do you think it will help him? Don't know what the fuck I'm asking.
I think it will help. I think he had lost a wee bit of confidence just because he was getting the chances at the camera agreement. He isn't. It sounds silly considering the amount of goals he scored to say he's not the most clinical. Because he's not like an Abada where you'll be like, he's got plenty of time on the ball, he's got to miss it. Like, I just think he is sometimes. Like I would say 7-8 times out of 10, 1-on-1 Kyogo will score, but there will be a couple of times he will miss his scores. It does seem like he'll score the harder chances at times as well. But I think Stephen made a great point. Obviously, he missed a couple of chances, like the one in the first couple of minutes where he puts it wide. Kyogo in form is burying that all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been easy for him just to hide for the rest of the game. But he always puts himself in these positions to miss the chance, if you like. And then obviously gets his reward near the end of it, be scoring, being in the right place at the right time, and you make your luck sometimes. So I think he'll push on. I thought Postecoglou pushing him back to the fans was a class bit of management. That will obviously help his confidence. I think like Kyogo, as much as it doesn't come across, I think he is every top player likes a wee bit of an ego, sort of get their ego massaged. And I think that was maybe what Postecoglou's doing, just saying, like, fans are still here saying, go and have a wee moment with him, like, go and do the wee dance that he dances like a Wayne when he does it right enough. I mean, I've not got much coordination myself on the dance floor, but I think I could. It's just Kyogo's last man.
It's just limbs.
But I thought that was class for Postecoglou. Just massage his ego a wee bit and give him a boost going into the weekend.
Aye, definitely. We'll touch on it later, our lineups and stuff. I don't know if he'll start or no, but we'll come on to that later. But we'll move on to now, Franny. I know you've not seen it yet, and I know everybody hasn't seen it, but a lot of people will have seen it because it's been on YouTube, off YouTube, on YouTube, off YouTube. It was on YouTube, and I seen it. The We Never Stop documentary. You can just listen if you want at this point. just nurse your hangover and listen to the dulcet tones of me and Stephen. Okay. But Stephen, I mean, for me, I thought it was a brilliant documentary. I thought I've heard, well, for me, if you get a chance, the bit at the start, it goes into Angie's life, he's like upbringing and stuff like that.
Spoiler
It's
alert.
about 20. Aye. Well, but I'm not telling you exactly what. I mean, a lot of the footage that
Did they
you're
win the league?
seeing in
Did they
that
win the
first
league?
20, a lot of the footage that you're seeing in that first 20 minutes is a lot of stuff we've seen. But
Yeah.
for me, it's it's painting a picture. It's produced really well. It's painting a picture, building it up, and then it moves into when he comes into Celtic, and everybody thought he was got to be shite, absolutely not good enough, all the rest of it. And then we just go and do what we do, and we bring the title home, like we all know. But how good was it for you?
Well, I'll tell you what. When you said it was back on YouTube, it was about half 11 at night. I seen that text message, and I watched it and didn't get to bed till like 1:30, whatever. It was an incredible watch. It really was. For anyone who hasn't seen it, either purchase it or just wait until a legend puts it back on YouTube and just watch it whenever you can. It was just great. I mean, the whole issue, like the whole Postecoglou backstory for me, I think is fantastic because you get to know him even more as a person and where he came from like the whole Greek Australian connection, South Melbourne, moving into Brisbane Roar, the Australian under 17s and stuff like that, and lots of ones like with ex-coaches who coached with him, giving you brilliant insight. And Egyptian King, the documentary was well done. Yeah, the only issue I have with it, Celtic need to get with the times and release it on like a streaming platform and let people buy it for like $6.99. This whole DVD thing, a lot of people. I mean, personally, myself, don't have one.
Who's got a fucking DVD player? You know what I mean?
So that's the only real market employ that I don't understand why they're not getting away from. Because imagine the Australian kind of buy into that, and like the Japanese buy into that, and they would all be on that download if that became available. I think that the whole thing was done really well. You expect these documentaries to be really cheesy and a bit like licking arse and all that type of stuff, but it wasn't. It was real. And the players were real. They were given real insight, and it was great seeing different players being involved in team talks and people you wouldn't necessarily think they had a voice, did have a voice, to be honest. And it was great to see that the whole production of it was fantastic and showing you all the vital moments. Dingwall, Tannadice, Ralston was heavily involved in the whole thing. All them types of players to get on it. It was amazing. I was engrossed. I think I sat with a cup of tea and just sipped at it. I was just unbelievable. I loved it.
Even there was obviously again it's footage. A lot of some of it, like it's footage that we've seen in the changing rooms. See when you've got obviously I can't mind if it was before the cup final, Cal McGregor, and he's like rallying the troops in the changing rooms. Hairs in the neck were on like standing on end. You've got Postecoglou in the changing room rallying the troops as well. Then one of my favourite bits was it must be like it's like a sort of team meeting room. It's a couple of hours before the game, big screen, and Ange's talking the guys through the game, giving them a pep talk, and you're just like, I would fucking do anything for you, man. I'm going to fucking punch fuck at that guy. Never mind score a goal, but aye. It was really good, and it sort of brings me on to come to you, Franny. Just that, obviously, we've seen Stephen sort of touching it a wee bit there with the streaming stuff and that, Amazon Prime and stuff like that. For me, there's been a lot of these flying the wall documentaries being made. The Sunderland one, the Arsenal one, the Chicago Bulls one is the best one I've ever seen. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you've not seen it, watch it. Or the guys that are watching, if you've not seen it, honestly, it's tremendous. But for me, I think it's time that Celtic maybe dipped their toe into that. I mean, there's pitfalls, there's pros and cons with everything, right? Celtic and Ange maybe when they like it, the club maybe when they like it. In terms of me as a fan, being able to watch the players that I love, the team that I love, the team that I follow week in, week out, to see them and just I feel part of it anyway, but to feel just that wee bit more part of it and just see that in the change rooms. There was wee bits, wee snippets in this documentary. To see a full documentary like that would be absolutely phenomenal for me, and I think that everybody would be all over it. Our fans, and fans aren't even fans just because Celtic are that big a club. People would be interested in it. I think it would be tremendous. What about yourself?
I'm kind of on the fence with it because, like I said, there is pros and cons. I watched the Man City one, which I really enjoyed. Like I hate like Man City and how they've got where they are, but I found some of that quite interesting. Like things like Van Dijk, they really wanted him, but one they wanted to pay what Liverpool wanted to pay. So it was quite good to see how Man City were operating at a different sort of what like Man City weren't going until sort of a Grealish gone spending silly money, and that was good. I watched the Tottenham one for about 5 episodes, and guys like Dele Alli and Danny Rose just were doing my nut in. I was like, this is what professional football is about. Now they're talking about how they brush their teeth, and I'm like,
that's guys that are on.
Aye, stupid money.
Aye, crazy money. They've lost a grasp in reality. This Celtic team are Ange doesn't allow that.
No, I don't. So I think in that sense it might be a bit different because I think the training, like the sort of training ground clips in that would probably be really good because I think the patter and banter and things like that would be good because I actually seen a video this earlier on Twitter. Funny enough, it was Greg Taylor, and it was obviously at the start of the season when they were all getting the team 40, and it's the way Hatate's standing, and then the photographer who's Scottish is going, turn round a wee bit, and Taylor just turns to Jot and goes, fucking talking to him like he's Scottish, not going just talking to him, mate. Like, they obviously has got a wee bit of part. They've obviously got a bit of part. So I understand. Like I think the board would go for it because, from a business point of view, we know our board like the pennies. It would probably make us plenty of money. I don't know if the manager would want it, and I think he would have to have the final say in it.
Aye, listen,
I'm on the fence with it now. I don't know.
I agree with you there. I
like seeing it for other clubs. I'm just not too sure if some of the
I
stuff
understand what you're saying, and
I don't know.
I alluded it to myself. I think I agree with you that I don't know whether Ange or the club would be on board with it. But from a selfish point of view, as a fan, give me it. Give me it every single. Give me it twice a week, every single week. Give me that content. I want it. I love it. I'd be all over it. What about yourself, Stephen?
Well, I mean, you look at the success of that Welcome to Wrexham one. I know, obviously, boosted by Ryan Reynolds and the other guy who's involved in it. Their viewership and their followers have like doubled and increased, and on Twitter, Instagram, all that type, and YouTube. So they've definitely got benefits out of the whole thing. For me personally, I'm going to be a bit cheesy here. One of my dreams in life is to go to Lennoxtown and just watch training and look at the facilities and look at how to do things. And I'm interested. I'm a geek for all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that gets me behind the scenes footage of Lennoxtown and training and listening to Ange and the team do their talks and whatever, I'm in it. I'll stay in all day and watch 24 hours every single day because I would love stuff like that. I don't think we're showing enough from behind the scenes. We got that mic'd up session, which was fantastic, and never again after that. We never got anything. I thought that would have led on to like a wee mini series of maybe once a month you get an insight into the training sessions. I know to do something in Celtic TV where you get in behind and the unfiltered access to Lennoxtown, but again, you have to pay for that ongoing, which it kind of goes against what we're saying here in terms of streaming. But I would love for Celtic to bring out an All or Nothing or like an Ange journey while he's here of the club, and maybe a couple of series like for 2 years running, for example, starting from next season. We'll see how it ends. I think it's something that they need to explore because, I mean, if the likes of Spurs and Arsenal and Wrexham and clubs like Sunderland are doing it, what harm can it really do to their club? All it really is just kind of giving the supporter an insight to what goes on in a professional environment. You see the people who buy into the club. Dele Alli and Danny Rose, where are they now? Like Dele Alli ruined his career. Jose Mourinho, was that famous footage from that documentary told him what would happen, and it happened. The same with Danny Rose. He told him. So you're seeing that day-to-day life of a footballer, the struggles of a management team and things like that. All that stuff excites me. And if Celtic done it, I'd be 100%. I'd bat 50 times over. It'd be incredible in my opinion.
That's the matter. As much as I'm kind of on the fence and leaning to being against it, surprisingly, I would totally contradict myself because I'd be all over it when it's on.
Oh, of course you would.
And I'd be loving the content, like because I loved that make-up session, and that's essentially a watered down filtered version of it, really.
Aye.
Like, how
Nice.
surreal is it? How surreal is it looking at like the likes of Joe Hart and like Tannadice in the dressing room, the wee pokey orange walls and all? And they're like, what's going on?
Aye. It's class, man. Honestly,
It's brilliant.
I mean, I look forward to watching Celtic playing, right? And well, if you can help it, you don't miss a game, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say.
A
Wait,
bad
a wee
second goal,
drink of wine.
Talk about a bad second goal.
No.
Ross forget
So-
what he's got to say.
I can't remember what I was going to say. That's fucking shit.
Monty's
No,
got
I think
be
you were
like
going
that.
to say if
Monty's
something
got to
along
be like
if like
this.
something like
no,
that.
that's what I was going to say,
released,
right? So, I watch Celtic all the time. If you can help it, I don't miss a game. But in terms of other games of football, like say Monday night football for an example, right? Just off the bat. So if it's, I don't know, for talking's sake, Arsenal against Leicester, right? I'll watch the game, right? But see all the stuff that Neville and Carragher did before it and after it. I look forward to and enjoy watching that more than the actual game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so in depth. It's real that they have a laugh, banter. It's really good telly. I like watching stuff like that over most games of football now because, well, I can't put my finger on why. I just do. Sometimes a game,
'Cause it's
you get games of football that are really exciting, really good, but there's a lot more games of football, like, I don't know, fucking Fulham against West Brom, right? It's shite.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit and watch that intently. It's shite. But all the stuff after it, I'll watch to my heart's content, and I love it.
It's like for me, like personally, and I know people here probably don't think I'm talking shite, but I don't watch any other games live. I very rarely do. If Celtic aren't playing, it doesn't really interest me. If there's a game on, you would throw it on the background. Sometimes it does put it around and do whatever you're doing. But I agree with what you're saying. See the likes of like Jimmy Carragher and Neville having that the Monday night football slot. They were brilliant in that. I know sometimes they don't do it, but when they're together, they're fantastic. I love watching the debate, the overlap thing with like
Amazing.
Roy Keane and
Totally
people
amazing.
like that. That's the type of stuff I would watch. I like that. But see, like
Aye.
I don't know what it is. If Celtic aren't playing in a live game, I very rarely watch an English League game or watch anything else. I'll watch the Scottish League game. I'll watch see if it wasn't on tonight and we didn't have a podcast and this didn't exist, I'd probably throw on the Hibs and St Johnstone game just to see what that VAR was like. That's the type of stuff I'm into, just to kind of look at stuff and kind of come across, like see what the pundits say about that. And I like that overlap stuff is fantastic. It's brilliant.
Aye. On that, the overlap stuff, that's the type of thing that we're talking about. It's, although it's in a studio, if you like, but they've got like that sort of fan base, one for each club, and it's just a wee bit closer to like being in that sort of circle. What's the crisp? Because I'm bald in the top, mate. But it's that step, that wee bit closer to understanding and getting a feel for that life. And I think Carragher, Neville, Keane, they all give you an insight into that really, really well. And listen to their stories of when they were like players, and even like Talk Sport.
I'm not really that keen on that, to be honest.
I like that, man. But White and Jordan, and then you've got the guest Danny Murphy. He's a wee bit of fud, but again, it gives you that insight. It's just really good. I love that side of the game. I love analysis. I love it all, and that's why when you asked me to do this podcast, I was like, I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know if I can do this, and turned out I fucking couldn't, but I'm still doing it anyway. But I just love coming on to this, and I love watching the Boys Say Bus and other Celtic podcasts talking about Celtic. And if I can't watch it, every single day I'm listening to some sort of Celtic content at my work. I don't care what it is. I just need it in my life every single day. It's class. Talk sport.
I tell you what,
I can't disagree with that, but I still like listening to other stuff about football and that.
I tell you what, you say analyse and analytical side of things, perfect segue. Stats Drop episode number 3 is back this Sunday, 8:00. We'll be reviewing all these games, probably the Motherwell, Hibs, and the RB Leipzig game at home. So we get into that with datas and numbers and all that type of stuff. So tune in if that's your gravy.
When is it on?
Sunday evening.
Sunday evening. What time?
8:00.
8:00. And while you're on a roll, I don't know how much traction or how many messages we're getting because I don't do that side yet, but the viewer takeover, just remind the guys about that. And
yes, the viewer takeover.
Is there any more traction towards it?
I think they're all hiding. I know we've got Alistair Jack on after Jed. Jed's on this week coming Friday, and he's looking forward to it. Alistair's on again after that. Monty, Egyptian King, Ryan Kelly, Gary Melrose, get in touch to get on this because we're going to have a laugh. Just talking Celtic. Kaiser done it. Kaiser done it. He's in the comments. We all had a fantastic time with him. It was brilliant. A couple of drinks, talking Celtic. Just get in touch with us and you'll get on. By
the way, have you watched the episode of Kaiser on the Bhoys Boss? I think it was on Sunday.
I watched about 20 minutes of it because I had to do something, but it was good.
By the way, the boys' backgrounds are a joy to behold, and his opinion is, I love it, man. Totally on board. I think he just says it how it is. It's class, and he done the same on our one. I could listen to Boy all day. He's proper good Celtic opinion. But we'll move on. There he is, legends. Kaiser's a legend. So we'll move on to. Obviously, there's a lot of chopping and changing in the team. You can see it over the last number of weeks.
Monty, he's got the talk, but no battle here.
Okay, come on, Monty, get on, man. You can black your face out like one of the folk you don't want to see your identity.
You can fight him.
Armadale anyway.
You can fight him. Come on, fight him.
But I mean, off the back of the Hibs game, Forrest gets a hat-trick.
Please don't say your joke.
Absolutely not. It wasn't a joke. It was just leave it. It was a shite pun that I just put in for a wee bit of nonsense. But anyway, so Forrest gets a hat-trick. Giakoumakis gets a double. Surprisingly, but not surprisingly, they get dropped. You'd think they'd stay in, but such is the squad we have. When the team was announced before the Motherwell game, I was neither angry nor worried that they were left out. What was your initial thoughts on their omissions for the team?
I was surprised in Forrest. Sorry.
Did I know that? Sorry, I was saying to Stephen, I'll come to you next guy. Sorry.
Right, go ahead, Stephen.
I mean, to be fair, like you're looking at Forrest and you're thinking hat-trick, he's a shoe in the play. And then you look at Giakoumakis, he had a cracking game. But then you have to remember he picked up an injury. So you're kind of thinking, is he going to start? Because he pulled up with his calf as well in that Hibs game. So Kyogo, you're thinking he probably will come in. And then Haksabanovic. I mean, the team itself, you take out the players. I was listening on Sports Sound on the way down for all my sins, the McGrandis house before I watched the game. They were talking about Celtic doing the rotation and things like that. And one of the pundits, I think it might have been Michael Stewart at the time, said, they take out 5 players and replace 5 players with the exactly same quality. So you're really not doing much at domestic level when you're taking out the likes of Forrest, you're bringing Labata back in, you're taking out Giakoumakis, you're bringing Kyogo back in. The team, for me, regardless of anything, was good enough to beat Motherwell, and thankfully we did quite comfortably. So the rotation aspect, I think, is going to come in more and more now with the World Cup coming up and the games. I think there's 8 games left in this period, so it's quite hectic. And wouldn't be surprised to see a few left wing ones like Edeguchi maybe starting the game at one point, Burnaby getting more game time. No, you never know. You never know.
You never know with Ange. You
never know, but McCarthy seems to be getting his.
No, McCarthy's getting on for a bet. Like he's on the bet.
But he is getting picked. No. He's getting picked before Edeguchi. That says a lot. I totally agree with you there, Franny.
The rotation thing hadn't finished, Ross. Hold your wee horse there. I think it's great. It's great to see, and I like the players getting game time. It excites me when there's changes sometimes when when you want to see a different player coming in and see how he gets on, and the likes of Kaiser, the likes of Bernabeu and all getting game time, it only bodes well because it brings them up to speed, gets them used to the team playing, Seekers getting the cup games. I'll take it.
Is that you finished, Stephen? Sorry.
Oh, yes. Oh.
It's just waiting to get assured there, you know. But just off the back of that, Franny, I think it was. I don't know what day it was. It was the other day, but Ange was quoted saying, "Well, I'm going to read it, right? I'm going to read the whole thing." Right. So this was, I don't know what interview it was or where it was. I've not seen it, but I read it, so I saved it on my phone for this evening, and I nearly forgot to read it out. But so he says, we still have 7 games to go in this stretch before the break, and there is just no way you can do that with 11 or 12 players, especially with the type of football we want to play. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of me just giving guys a game because I feel sorry for them. I'm putting guys in there because I think we can maintain those levels and keep guys fresh for when we need them, because they need a lot of energy to play our kind of football. The guys have embraced that. They're taking their opportunities every time they play to make an impact, and I thought the guys who came in were good at that. They provided a general sort of drive and energy we needed. I left out a couple of guys. One scored a hat-trick, the other, Giacomakis, a couple of goals. But we brought in a couple. Leo could have had a hat-trick, and Kyogo... You're giggling at you. And Kyogo could have scored a couple. I think there is a respect within the group. We all know... You're making me nervous, sir. We all know what we are trying to achieve, and we all want to do it together. That means that no one is more important than anyone else. I think they've embraced that. They understand it. You saw last year what happens when you put the burden on a very few. You get injuries and it affects us. If James had played or Jacko had played, there's no chance for Saturday. So they understand that, right? Now, I don't know what he's giggling at. I don't know if there's a comment put up on the screen that I've missed, or if Steve has just went into full immature mode. But
oh my god,
I just felt I needed to read that out just to move on to the next bit. What are we all laughing at? What is it, children?
I
told you not to read. I told you not to read the script on her.
I was just reading out. Probably a lot of folk have seen it. I was never going to remember that. But I don't know if everybody's seen that quote. I don't think everybody has.
That was a quote.
I don't know where I seen it or if one of you shared it. I can't mind, but I saved it on my phone anyway. What's that?
That was a speech, no quote.
I know. It was brilliant. Brilliant.
But he said it in some interview somewhere anyway, right? But off the back of that, right, for me, that pays to the argument that he doesn't have a first 11. I know it was, Jed, but it's 1 o'clock, Gerard. It's 1 o'clock. Nah, but off the back of that, right, that for me, that pays to the argument that he doesn't have a first 11. He probably has maybe a favoured 9 players that he'll rotate at different times. I think the players... Ross Monagog. I knew this was coming.
I want to just refer to as William Shakespeare.
Hey, I'll take that. I don't know about William right enough. Hurry up, you fanny. Right, that's it. I'm off. Right. Nah, right. So, like I've said, right, for me, I think he's probably got a favoured 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that is Hart, Carter-Vickers, Taylor, Juranovic, McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly, Jota, and Kyogo. Franny, would you say that would be fair to say? And what's your thoughts just on that?
I think it's fair. I think Maeda's one of his favourites as well. He's in and
out a lot more than the other guys I've mentioned.
Oh no, definitely aye. But even when his form was dipping, he was always in.
Fuck yes, man. I didn't realise it was as long until I started reading it, by the way.
But I think it's fair to say he has got a few favourites. I mean, what manager does it at the end of the day? Every manager's got their favourite players. But I think, we were saying it last season as well, he's trying to build a strong squad and not a strong 11. But like to play that high press, that fast attacking football, competing in all fronts, including Europe, you can't do that with 11 players. You can't do that with 14 players. You need a good squad of maybe 18 to 20 players that can do that. That standards don't drop like we're seeing now where Taylor's out, Bernaby's coming in, and he's looking like a really good player. Kyle and Giacomakis, the standard doesn't drop. Forrest scored the hat-trick, gets dropped. Abada scores 2. I think that's what we're seeing. That, like you say, it does allude to the fact that he wants a strong squad as opposed to a strong 11. You just look at all successful teams; they've all got a strong squad.
It's like the CBBS. I'm the famous podcaster that comes in and bits of Wednesday sleep.
I know. Aye, but
by the way, I'm not a famous podcaster. Just let me clear that up.
A fucking famous one. I forgot what I was saying. He wants a strong squad, and like most successful teams have got strong squads and no strong 11. Yeah. So we've got to try and get to that to be successful on all fronts.
Mm-hmm. Aye, I totally agree with that. And just your thoughts, Stephen, just off the back of what I've said there in terms of the players that I've mentioned, possibly being his like 9 more favoured players, and then how he's using the squad, the Yazid squad.
Oh my god, he does. Oh god, that's so bad. Like
I know that's so right. Move on, kid. Move on.
I think like you're right to say he's definitely got a core that he likes. He likes Carter Vickers-Jens at the minute. If Kalmack was available, it'll be him. It'll be O'Reilly, Hatate, and then Kyogo, and the rest kind of alternate between that. I know Jada and stuff as well. But I think it's good to have like a core squad where you can kind of rely upon, and then you can bring in the different types of rotation and different combinations of like Maeda or Abada on the wings, or Jada or Haksabanovic, or even Haksabanovic dropped into the 10. Giacomakis going up front as well. So as Franny rightly said, every squad, every team who challenges for league titles and cups needs a great pool of players who come in, and it doesn't necessarily look like a big drop off in quality, which I think we have at domestic level. I'll always say at European level, not so much at the minute, but domestically, 100%, the rotation works well. Mm-hmm. St Mirren game for now is a blip in the whole process and what we're kind of facing with Postecoglou and the team. I know before we were told it's a roller coaster, and sometimes your heart sinks when you see certain players play, like Moy, for example. But he's come in, he's done a job, and really until that breaks down, you can't really question that process because it's working. And what's that saying? You can't fix what's not broken. So at the minute, it's working. You take it as it goes. The regulars, the core of the group, will remain the same. Players get their chances, and it's up to them to take it.
Aye, I agree. And by the way, I would say for all but the St Mirren game, I think he's used the squad, and he's used the squad really well. And you can't argue because they've got result after result after result, bar the St Mirren game. But they've made 5-6 changes in more than one occasion this season, and it's worked. They've got away with it. Let me finish my point, then we'll move on to that. Forgot what I'm saying. We'll just move on to this because I'm so excited. The Avenger. What players would we put in? Well,
yeah,
Joe Hart would be in for his speed, getting the ball back onto the park, and for being a maniac, screaming at ball boys. He would be Captain America.
Okay.
Who else? What we're thinking?
I like that one. That's happy as
CCV.
Nah, CCV's going to be Hulk.
I was thinking CCV is the Hulk, but
Maeda, Flash.
Oh yeah, Flash. Aye.
All day long.
Right. Oh, GG, I know who.
Captain.
It's CCV. Oh well, no, he's not an Avenger. I was going to say CCV could be Thanos.
Giacomakis is Iron Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jota is what do you call the woman?
Superwoman?
No, the one.
Wonder Woman?
No, that's Jota, you maniac. The one she goes up into space now. I forgot her name.
NASA?
No, just leave it. It's the one. Oh, I can't mind, man. Doesn't matter. Aye, that was a good wee bit anyway, but we'll move on. What Franny doesn't
that's
know
a
because
good
he's not seen much of them.
I know, mate. I'm basing it on Mila's teddies and that are sitting on the couch. She's actually got. She's got Hulk the talk and everything.
You mean to say you've got Hatate sitting on your sofa?
Well, she's got Hulk, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's no Avengers, isn't he? No.
Look at that pose, Ross. Look at the pose.
What pose?
Teapot. Is that a wee teapot?
Oh, aye.
Look at that. Look at that.
I have a little teapot.
She's got Captain America, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Hulk.
What the fuck's happened here? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Who's Doctor Strange? Somebody has to be Doctor Strange, and we'll move on. MD in the comment.
Boy. Easy. He's a strange looking man.
Could be. Anyway, right. Moving on. Ross's penny shield.
Penis shield.
Penis held. Penis held. Who's penis held? Right. By the way, we're now 37 minutes in. I've just gave up. I've gave up on the time. I'm just going to keep going, man. Next topic, next part of the pod is come at yourself first, Stephen. Thus far in the season, who has been your top and most consistent performer of the team squad so far?
Top performer?
Top and most consistent.
On his game, Rio Hatate. I don't think there could be
Rio.
much of a case made. Much of a case made to be for anyone else. Consistency, Greg Taylor. He's been Mr. Consistent. I've grown to really like him when he plays. I think he just gives his all, as I said before. Albeit he's not technically gifted, but he makes up for that for his effort, his enthusiasm. He gets up and down that left-hand side. Whether it looks like it's killing him, he's still running up and down because sometimes he looks absolutely busted and he makes them runs. He links up the play. I think he's adapted really well to the inverted fullback position where you can come in and kind of link up the play from the midfield. I think he's really good at that sometimes. It's a bit underappreciated, his passing. I think he has a good array of passing. But yeah, consistency would be Taylor. Top performer on his game for me at the moment would be Rio Hatate.
I have absolutely nothing to add. Franny, what about yours? That's exactly what I was thinking, honestly.
It would be the players I would pick, but I think you have to argue Taylor for both ones because consistency makes you the top performer as well. So I would
absolutely. I think Taylor edges it. Right.
I would say Taylor edges it. I just think, like you say, his standards have not dropped one bit. I'm not saying Hatate's has, but he's had game like in different performances where I don't think off the top of my head, I can't think of one game where Taylor has played bad this season. So I would have to say, it's Taylor for me.
I would agree with that. I don't think Taylor's been any less than a 7. There's a lot of guys fucking off, trot him out, whatever you want to say. I've milked this. I've taken it into all.
It doesn't matter. We keep going. We never stop.
Doesn't matter. We'll just keep going. Right. Listen, it was just a wee filler there. I thought it was a wee filler, but I didn't realise the wee filler was going to be an hour and 39 minutes in. But hey ho, we'll move on to Tynecastle tomorrow afternoon, 12:30 kick-off.
We're nearly there, folks. We're nearly there.
Nearly there. It's getting so close. 12:30 kick-off. Tynecastle. VAR.
Oh my god.
They knew when VAR was coming in. They gave us Tynecastle. Okay, fuck them right up. They'll probably be 2 points clear at that point. They knew everything. They knew everything that was going to happen. That's why they done it. But Franny, what's your thoughts on the game? How it'll go? Your team and Score.
I mean, Tynecastle's never an easy place to go, but I think they've really struggled with European football this season and getting the balance with European football in the league. And for Hearts levels the last few seasons, that they're not really up to much. So I'm fairly confident going in, especially because off the back of the games we've had against obviously Motherwell and Hibs, where we seem to have found our scoring touch again. I thought we're still in that sort of we sort of dip where we're struggling to find the net. I would be a wee bit more concerned, but I think I actually, for once, I'm pretty confident going to Tynecastle. As much as it isn't an easy place to go, I just think it will be this time round. VAR, it could be a disaster. It probably will, because at the end of the day, as much as I don't want VAR in football, VAR's no the problem. It's the guys operating VAR and their interpretation of the rules. VAR's no necessarily the problem. It's the guys using VAR. But like Postecoglou, if we do our bit, we'll no need to worry about VAR. We'll no need to worry about it making decisions for us. Annoyingly, by the way,
Monty, send me your location. I'm coming down to fucking here and drink with you, man.
I'm going to keep talking about it, because at this rate I'll get to see it again, because we're going to fucking see Chase at Smith's Toy Store tomorrow, and I think it's form rating time with the football.
Ready for action, Rider, sir?
Aye, class.
Is that him? Is that Paw Patrol?
That's aye. Yeah. Stephen's not even go away, and he knows what it is.
Getting it in there now. Getting all the programmes he needs to watch. But my team was Hearts and goals. I would actually play Ralston and Ben. I'm going to put Bernabé in, but it's more who I'm playing up, because of who I'm playing up front, which is obviously got to give that away. And then obviously Jens and Carter Vickers. The midfield three, I think it'll be O'Reilly, Hatate, and Moy. And then my front three, I'm putting Abada in again, and Haksabanovic on the left with Giacomakis up front. And it's simple, like Bernabé, as much as Taylor's got tons of assists, I think crossing wise, Bernabé gets the ball in quicker. Same with Ralston, gets the ball in quicker, and Abada usually gets the ball in quicker. So it's, if I'm playing Giacomakis up front, I'm playing the guys just to get the service into him quicker. And I'm going for a 3-0.
3-0. Already, do they? Stephen, what about yourself?
I mean, the whole VAR thing throws in a different dimension to the game, doesn't it really? I mean, we all know Hearts are going to be up for it. As we all say, they're the dads, they're the sisters or whatever of the other club.
The miniatures.
The miniatures, exactly. I think it'll be a tough game. I know Hearts have kind of had up and down season, but they've got into Europe and stuff, so they're there in their own merit. They've played some good football, have some good players as well. The only issue you have for me is this: the VAR thing really, really gives me anxiety at the minute. It does. And I've heard about the camera angles. They're not as sufficient as the English Premier League or the Bundesliga. There's 6 extra cameras apparently, and some of them don't even cover some of the areas where decisions are made. Which, how the hell are you going to do that? The whole red card thing and penalties and all this type of thing. I just know it's this, any wee thing we do wrong is going to be took on and played on, and it's not conspiracy. I can just see it. It's happened loads and loads of times. Inconsistency from referees. We talk about it. This for me is going to make it 110 million times worse. This VAR stuff, fucking 10-minute pauses in games, fucking it doesn't bode well.
I don't think we've even got the monitor at the side of the park.
Yeah, and do you know another thing too?
Is it no?
Don't think so.
No.
Wow.
Do you know,
I'm going to be so angry watching football now.
Which is mental. The fact that there's hardly any big screens in Scottish football like they have in the EPL or Bundesliga, so you don't even know what's going on or what's being stopped for. Or go for it.
Sorry, Stephen. Can I ask it? Is there even goal line technology?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
so there's VAR, but no goal line technology.
We have goal line technology. Yeah.
Do we?
We do. Yeah. Because it's already implanted in the ball, isn't that? That it gives the referee a signal that it's over the line.
No, it's cameras.
Okay, you got big cameras. No,
Aye,
I don't think we do
goalie
have the.
technology is Hawkeye. It's Hawkeye, which is cameras.
Aye, it's
Yeah.
not there though. We've
I
not
don't
got that
think
in
we've
Scotland. I don't
I
think.
think
Have
we're
we?
getting VAR with goalie technology.
No, I don't
I
think
think
we have.
that's
No. Well, the Forest one last week, they were debating on bloody sports scene where it was a goal or no.
Yeah.
Even
Aye.
though the guy got hit in the face and his pie went over him, the
I
ball was that far in.
know. It was
So
I don't think,
they wouldn't be debating about that had we had goal line technology.
I
Was
don't
my
think it's
point.
coming in with VAR. Don't even think goal line
Well,
technology
that's what I
with VAR.
find bizarre. But sorry, Stephen, you were mid-flow, and then we digressed there a wee bit. But
No, 100%. I think it's a great debate to have. It's going to be this whole implantation period of it. It's going to be crazy. Your man Crawford Allen, I did an interview with him. They were like, if a team gets a new player, you don't expect them to bet in right away. But see, even comparing that to what a referee has to do, ways up. You're just giving yourself excuses or to make mistakes. It's just
And
incredible.
why is the guy that's sort of heading this saying that? It's just
Exactly.
telling you the technology's not ready.
aye.
Yeah, that's an admission that it's not up to scratch. And they bring you into the wee SFA studio and they're like, we've got screens over here, we've got screens over there, but we don't know what the fuck we're doing. So
that's a bit like me when I
incredible.
go into the bookies. There's screens everywhere. I have a fucking clue what's going on.
I think I'll go 3-1 Celtic tomorrow. That's my
3-1.
prediction.
And did you give us your team?
Yeah.
I'll go Joe Hart, Juranovic, CCV, Jens, Burnaby, O'Reilly, Hatate, Haksabanovic, Giacomakis through the middle, Abada on the right, and Maeda on the left.
Could see that. Like.
It's not too far away from my team. Not exactly the same like
Yeah,
last
lads,
week.
just a
See
quick
how
one.
you said
Remember,
Maeda? Do you mean Maeda or Forest?
Maeda, dickhead.
Right.
I know, I got that wrong myself. All right. But who predicted Haksabanovic number 10 first? Got laughed at. Got ridiculed.
Who predicted 6-1 against Hibs last week?
No. Unreal.
Did you? No, you said 7-0 or something.
No,
I said 6-1.
I said 6-1. Yeah, actually did.
Incredible.
Pleased to meet you. I'm the Oracle.
As well, right? Willie no say 4-0 against Motherwell.
Did who?
Willie.
Aye, Wally. Aye, I thought you were going to say me. I wasn't even on. Me, I think I'm going to go 2-0 Celtic. It's always a tough game. Not always. Sometimes we cuff them, but I expect a tough game. 2-0. Like right. How do you ban Monty out the comments? So I'd like to put the wheels in motion on that right now. 2-0 Celtic I'm going to go for, and my team will be Hart, Juranovic, Carter Vickers, Jens, Taylor, O'Reilly, Hatate, Haksabanovic, Maeda on the left, GG through the middle, and Forrest on the right. That would be my team. He's alright with that. He's happy. It's nodding away. Aye.
I'll give you my team. So
I've pitched my Panther. I'm so quick I didn't see
it. Right, listen. Finally, at 1 hour and 49 minutes, we have come to the end of the podcast. But if you would like a wee agree to disagree,
yes,
do a couple of them just to finish off.
Fillers in.
Yes.
Fillers in.
Oh, we need fillers, mate. This is short.
We need the fillers, right? Fucking hell, man. I don't know what happens every time. I used to slag John, man. Fucking hell, man. It's fucking ridiculous. I just elongate it so I can get more wine. Keep the door shut. Anyway, so we'll move on to the agree to disagree to finish off. We all ken how it works. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, right? So the first one is a wee bit controversial. It's caused a few arguments in our chat, but we're going to go there because that's who I am. Tyson Fury never wanted the Joshua fight. He knew because of timing for Joshua it wouldn't happen and played it so he could look good before taking another shite fight. I strongly agree. Stephen?
Strongly disagree.
Fucking why, you knob?
Well, if Fury's offering a fighter who has lost 2 or 3 professional fights,
3's last 4.
3.
3. So he's lost 3 of his last 4 professional fights. He's offering him the fight that everyone wants.
When he
Basically,
knew
a
it was
comeback
ill
fight.
timing.
No, listen, let me finish because you got your time.
No, I didn't.
No,
No,
you
that's my
didn't.
thing.
You rambled it and you give me it, so I'm answering it.
Right, okay.
The way I look at this, right? It's like if you see someone in the street or whatever, and he used to be a billionaire, and he's lost all his money, and someone goes here, there's £1 billion back to you, and he says no. That's basically what Tyson Fury's doing. He's giving him an arm, a helping hand here to get it back up. And I know Tyson Fury's played it for himself 100%, but again, he was getting about 40% of the purse. That's
But he offered him a
incredible
fight when
for a
he
fight.
knew he wouldn't be ready. He knew for a fact. Like he knew as a fighter, if he'd came off the back of the Usyk fight, this was total funny. So if he came off the back of the Usyk fight, right, and Joshua was in his position, and Joshua offered him that fight, Tyson Fury wouldn't take it because it's ill timing, it's bad timing. As much as it's not a fight that Joshua deserves, and he knows that, he played on it, and he knows that deep down Joshua wants the fight because he takes every fight, and he wanted that fight, but it was bad timing, and
You've got a really strange loving for Anthony Joshua. He's absolute
Well,
dog
no,
meat.
he
He's
hates
dog
Tyson
meat.
Fury.
but I also love
An-
Anthony
no.
Joshua. But
Anthony
for
Joshua
me, it was
he's crap.
For me,
Nah,
Tyson Fury knew that in terms of the time scale for when he had his last fight to when he wanted to fight Joshua, he wouldn't be fighting the best version of Anthony Joshua, which would suit Tyson Fury.
Don't talk
It
that
would
pish.
allow him to most likely win that fight because it's not the best version. Let me finish. Let me
You
finish.
talk shite there, lad.
Because
You're
he
talking absolute
wouldn't be
shite.
fighting the best version of Anthony Joshua, and he knew that he would have. He probably still believes he would beat him, but I don't think Fury really wants that fight. He has to take the Usyk fight, doesn't he have to take the Joshua fight? But he played on that to make it look like getting at the big I am. He's never took a big fight, bar Klitschko. You can tell me he took Wilder. Wilder is absolutely pish at boxing.
Fuck
Totally
off.
pish. Totally pish. Utter garbage at boxing. That knockout the other night was a total disgrace. Embarrassing. Tyson Fury is calculated and he's a liar. That's my opinion.
Well, what big fights has Joshua
Franny.
took?
Obviously doesn't want my opinion.
You haven't given me. It doesn't matter. We're here too long. Go ahead, Franny. Absolute shit.
I agree, but like, I think both fighters wanted the fight.
You agree with the question?
I don't strongly
the
agree,
statement.
but I do agree that Tyson Fury did. Everything was all in his favour to make it look like Anthony Joshua didn't want the fight. I think it was more the promoter, Eddie Hearn, maybe didn't want it because they've got a big deal with DAZN. He loses 4 out of 5 fights. It's no a great look for your marquee guy. And as much as Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren can both say they wanted, like it was other person, we'll never know who the real reason. But I was totally in the camp of saying where you were, Rossway, and I like Fury. But I was totally on your side where it would have been strongly agree that Fury said he wanted the fight, but pretty much knew timescales. The type of fights didn't happen in the timescales he was setting out. The fight could have been made for December 3rd. They just had to let the legal guys do what they need to do and get the fight done.
But I was talking in terms of recovery for his last fight rather than.
I don't know, because what was it, 10 weeks or something? It would have been.
Still not the best version he's fighting.
It's still not the best version, but again, you've got to look at Anthony Joshua on the back of 3 defeats out of 4 fights. He's getting a fight that you could argue he doesn't deserve. So it's one of them where sometimes you've just got to take it to maybe get back up the top of the tree.
Bingo. Anthony Dunn gets it.
Aye. I don't.
100%.
Well, aye.
Aye, but because AJ is not calculated and a liar.
He knew it wasn't. But what I would say is,
How the fuck
and
is he there?
It's gone to a different right. The whole corner bend carry on. I've lost a lot of trust for Eddie Hearn on the back of that. Eddie Hearn knew weeks and weeks ago that he had failed a drug test.
Aye.
So can we really believe everything Eddie Hearn said, how that he done everything to make that Fury fight happen? I didn't think so.
We could do a full podcast on this, right?
I think the whole corner bend thing is going to. It could potentially expose a few guys in a dangerous way. I think because why they never said they've done the B sample, not done that. I think it was Eubank's dad that broke the story to the papers that he'd failed a drug test.
Mind that time I asked about Fury and Joshua.
I know, but well, that led on to how I didn't trust Eddie Hearn as much anymore because the guy was willing to
I didn't trust Eddie Hearn anyway. I didn't trust any of them. But
I know, but
Fury's
the guy was willing to let a guy that failed a drug test fight.
Fury's a cock. He's a liar. He's calculated. He's picked and chose his fights. His entire career. He beat Klitschko. So did AJ. AJ's took every big fight available to him.
I agree.
Tyson Fury has not. End
AJ.
story.
Oh,
we'll move on to
AJ.
the next one. We'll move on to the next one, right? Because we're nearly 2 hours. We're nearly 2 hours now, right? One more for the road boys. He's played with less. I'll come to you first, Franny. He's played with lesser clubs, but over their careers, performance-wise, Craig Gordon has been a better goalkeeper than Joe Hart.
Oh.
Wow.
Nah, I'd have to go to disagree. I'd have to go to disagree. And it's a lazy argument, but there's a reason you play with the clubs you play for. There's a reason you play at the level he played at.
Craig Gordon's Scottish. That's why he didn't play at Man City.
I appreciate it's a lazy argument from my side saying, well, he was at Man City, played in the Champions League, played for England X amount of times and stuff. But I would, as much as Craig Gordon is a really, really good goalkeeper and was brilliant for us, I would disagree with that one.
Stephen?
I don't know why you said that. That's horrendous. Two agree to disagree, and they've both been absolutely shambolic. Joe Hart is miles better than Craig Gordon.
Fuck.
Of course he is, man.
No way, man.
Man, I have no idea. I'll strongly disagree. Like Joe Hart, and I didn't like him for years, right? And you still had to hold your hands up. He was a good goalkeeper. Like,
he's a very good goalkeeper.
While Joe Hart was playing, Craig Gordon was injured. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really compare the two careers in that sort of instance. But maybe I worded it wrong. Just in terms of a goalkeeper, right? No, like excluding Craig Gordon's injury, right? In terms of a goalkeeper, there's nobody going to tell me that Joe Hart's a better goalie than Craig Gordon. Craig Gordon was world class.
I would argue potentially that recent bias maybe comes into some folks' decision in this one.
What, Fry?
I would argue, and potentially in my case, that recent bias is coming into play with Joe Hart.
100% Kaiser. Fraser Foster was better than Craig Gordon.
But we're not talking about that. That wasn't the agree to disagree.
But I mean, if Fraser Foster was better than Craig Gordon, so was Joe Hart. Like, cause, you know what I mean?
Not because for me, Fraser Foster was better than Joe Hart. He couldn't get an England team because Joe Hart was a cool name at the time. It's like right now, right? It's the same now. Jordan Pickford is bang average, right? Mm-hmm. But he's going to play at the World Cup because he's the cool name. Ramsdale should be England's goalkeeper. That's it. For me, Craig Gordon is better.
Eddie Pope's
good.
Pope's good.
Eddie Pope.
Is it Eddie Pope?
No,
I think it's Eddie Pope.
Nick Pope.
Who the hell's Eddie Pope?
No, man. Eddie Howe's the manager. Eddie Howe's the manager. Eddie
I have to
Pope.
say, like, Ross, I know you're probably fishing for a few comments, like, but Craig Gordon's not world class. No chance.
He
Not a
was.
hope. When he was 19 and he got that
When he
move to
left
Sunderland.
Hearts and went to Sunderland,
Aye.
he was
And
a
he got
world
injured.
class goalkeeper. Aye, but if he hadn't got
hasn't-
injured, he could have done whatever he wanted. He was a
Go by
world
that.
class
How's that?
goalkeeper.
How's that an argument that if he couldn't have got injured, then he would have been more? He got injured, he ended up shit, came to us, did well, now he's shit again.
Wow.
So
It's no shit.
It's no shit.
It's no shit. Listen, we'll just end it there. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's 2 hours and 1 minute in. It's not a nice round number.
Take it.
That was Head and Shoulders. Aye, Head and Shoulders because he done the advert. Come on.
Well done, Ross.
Right, listen, Stephen, I'll let you do all the wee pleasantries at the end. I've enjoyed myself. You've enjoyed yourself?
Oh,
It's been brilliant. Been brilliant, mate. Unbelievable.
You've got to get a coffee in that, because he's a bit sleep.
I'm surprised I've stayed awake.
Aye, so
Can you believe it? That's the longest one yet.
I just want to, as Ross said, we'll round it off here. So everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. This is Monday after the Winnipeg Castle.
Well played. That was total Monty Fat.
Oh no, but it's been a great show, Ross. I don't care how long it goes for. We all had a laugh, and it was great. Celtic supporters podcast.
It'll be a Monday in this month, the way you've done the schedule.
Big Red, Ross put the gas down. Egyptian King, great show, lads. 100%. So yeah, we'll be back on Sunday. Me, Stuart, and Tony McLaughlin doing the stats drop. If you're interested, watch. It's a learning process, lots of numbers, XG, everyone's favorite subject. Looking back in the previous games. Normal podcast. We'll be back again Monday at 8:00. Until then, let's hope for a positive result tomorrow at Tynecastle. VAR not to be spoke about, and everything's great in the garden. Stay well.
World class. Craig Gordon has a shite game.
Take your fucking face for a shot. Hail.